I've lived over 60 years on this earth. And if you ask me what I regret the most, it's not the mistakes I made. It's the time I spent trying to please everyone else. I used to think, if people approved of me, if someone praised me, if I got applause, then I would feel happy. But the truth is, the more I lived for recognition, the further I drifted from myself. And the more I tried to explain myself, the more exhausted I became. Does that sound familiar to you? You share a dream and they laugh. You start a plan and they doubt you. You try to change and they talk behind your back. Eventually, you lose motivation. All because of people who've never lived a single day in your shoes. Now, I'm not saying don't listen, but you have to be careful who you listen to. Not everyone is meant to understand your path. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. And sometimes, applause isn't encouragement. It's control in disguise. Here's what I've learned. Silence is not weakness, it's strength. Focusing on yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you stay silent, you start hearing your inner voice again. When you stop needing to prove anything to others, you start doing everything for yourself. And when you show up every single day quietly, steadily, there comes a time when your life speaks for itself. In this video, I'm not going to give you textbook advice. I'll share the real lessons, the kind you only learn by living, failing, getting up, and growing. If you're 20, 30, or even 60, and you're on a journey back to your true self, then I hope this message reminds you. You don't need to shout to be understood. You just need to keep walking, even if it's in silence. I used to be the kind of person who shared everything. Every time I had a new idea, a new goal, a new plan, I'd tell someone about it. I thought that speaking it out loud would give me more motivation. That if someone approved, I'd know I was on the right path. But over the years, I realized something that changed everything. Talking about it too early was the very reason I failed more than once. Here's a mistake many young people make. They think that saying a goal out loud is the same as working on it. You say, "I'm going to write a book." Sounds impressive. People cheer you on. Wow, that's awesome. And just like that, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. You feel like you've already accomplished something, even though you haven't written a single word. That's the trap. You feel satisfied, excited, but nothing happens afterward. Because that early praise made you feel done before you even began. I once had a smart young student, so full of ideas. One day he came to me and said, "I'm opening a cafe that's also a creative space for young artists." I nodded. "Have you started?" He replied, "Not yet, but I posted about it on Facebook. Got tons of likes." 1 month, then 3, then a whole year passed. No cafe. He finally said, "I don't feel excited about it anymore. I think I was in love with the idea, not the work." I didn't blame him. I had been there. When you share too early, you hand over the soul of your dream to other people. You invite their doubts, their opinions, their fears, and no matter how tough you pretend to be, those voices get in your head. All it takes is one sentence. "Are you sure that's not too hard?" And just like that, you hesitate. Strangely enough, the harshest voices usually come from friends and family, not strangers. They don't mean harm, but they don't see what you see. They reflect their own limits, not yours. When I was in my 32nd, I wanted to write a book. I told a close friend, "I want to write something about life and what it's taught me." He looked at me and said, "You? Write a book? Who would read that?" I closed my notebook. And for 10 years, I didn't touch a manuscript again. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I let one comment, one smirk, crush a growing seed of belief. Eventually, I learned, early ideas are like sprouts. If you show them off too soon, the wind of the world will blow them away. Silence isn't secrecy, it's protection. It's giving yourself a safe space to nurture your vision until it's strong enough to stand. You don't have to post your plans. Let your actions speak. You don't have to tell the world you're changing your life. Just change it quietly. One day, someone will ask, "Hey, you've changed. What happened?" And you'll smile. Because by then, the results will speak louder than you ever could. But let me tell you another truth. Not everyone wants to see you change. When you start focusing on yourself, when you become disciplined, when you quietly work on yourself every single day and begin to grow, you'll be surprised. Some people around you will start pulling away, not because you've done something wrong, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. I know it sounds harsh, but it's not judgment. It's just how life works. Your progress becomes a mirror reflecting their stagnation. I once had a group of close friends. We used to meet weekly. Then I decided to change my life. Wake up early, exercise, read every day. I didn't brag. I just stopped showing up for the late-night drinking sessions. At first, they joked, "You're getting too serious. Trying to live like a monk now, huh?" I laughed, stayed quiet. But over time, they stopped calling. And eventually, I realized I had stepped out of a comfort zone they were still trapped in. Even the people you love most may not support your growth, not because they hate you, but because you're evolving too fast. Your silence makes them feel loud. Your discipline highlights their laziness. Your improvement reminds them that they had dreams too, dreams they left behind. That's when you'll start to see clearly who's truly rooting for you and who only supported you when you stayed small. Some people will disappear. Some will criticize. Some will go silent when you succeed. Don't take it personally. Growth always changes relationships. Some people are only comfortable with you when you're struggling. When you start rising, they feel threatened. Because now, you're living proof that progress is possible, and they haven't moved. I remember one time when I began teaching and sharing life lessons publicly. A cousin called and said, "Since when did you become a professor?" Half joking, half serious. I laughed and said, "I'm just sharing what helped me." He never called again, and I didn't take it to heart, because I realized, when you grow, you awaken something in others. Not everyone is ready to face it. So what do? You protect your energy. No arguing, no explaining, no dragging people along if they're not ready. Instead, just keep walking. Silently, steadily, consistently. Soon, you'll meet new people. People who don't think you're weird for reading books at 6 a.m., they think you're inspiring. People who don't mock your discipline, they ask how they can start. These are the people on your frequency, and you only meet them once you leave the crowd behind. And finally, remember this. Not everyone needs to understand your journey. They only need to see the results. And sometimes, the result isn't some million-dollar business or flashy success. It's simply this. You're more at peace. You're happier. You're free. And to me, that's the greatest kind of success there, Island. You know, every time I think about starting something new in life, I imagine a tiny seedling freshly planted, fragile, barely rooted, offering no shade, and surrounded by people who doubt it will grow. And you're the same. When you set a new goal, dream a new dream, or build a new plan, it's just like that young plant. And what you need now isn't to show it off to the world, but to quietly care for it every single day. 1. The trap of rushing and showing off. Many people, especially the young, make the same mistake. The moment they have an idea, they tell everyone. They post it online, talk to friends, tell family, as if sharing the dream means they've already taken the first step. But here's the truth. That little rush of dopamine you get when someone says, "Great idea," it tricks you into thinking you've already achieved something. And soon, you lose motivation. Your dream loses steam. That little seed gets pulled out of the soil for everyone to look at and ends up dying because it never got the chance to grow in silence. Sharing an undeveloped idea too early is like exposing a sprout to the wind it won't survive. 2. Slow but steady, small daily actions. Let me tell you this, from my own life. Quiet consistency is what grows dreams. You don't need to do something massive. You just need to take a small step daily, read 10 pages, write a plan, study for 30 minutes. Just like watering a plant. A little water, a little sunlight, a little weeding, that's enough. No one else needs to know what you're doing. You only need you to know, I'm still going, Even if it's slow, I'm not stopping. 3. Silence prevents distraction. Here's something I've learned. Silence is the armor of dreamers. When you stay quiet, you avoid noise, doubt, judgment, and unhelpful advice. A tender plant needs peace to root itself. Likewise, your goal needs space, a private zone, free from outside opinions. Silent action is how you keep your vision safe and sacred. 4. The power of surprise. Let your results do the talking. Let people look back and say, "Wow, how did you accomplish so much?" Don't be the one always talking with nothing to show. You know, when you build in silence, you have a powerful advantage. No one can stop what they can't see. They won't kill the dream because they don't know it exists. By the time they find out, it's already too late. Silence isn't secrecy. It's strategy. 5. Don't quit when the results are invisible. Most importantly, you'll have days when it feels like nothing is growing. You'll ask yourself, is this even worth it? Am I wasting my time? But remember, all great trees spend months growing roots before anyone sees a leaf. No applause, no reward, just faith. Trust that every small effort today is feeding something much bigger tomorrow. And remember, a great tree never needs to speak, its shade speaks for itself. You don't need to prove anything, your results will speak for you. In the last part, we talked about nurturing your goals in silence, like caring for a tender seedling, quietly, consistently, without needing validation. But watering alone is not enough. You need regularity. You need structure. You need to show up whether it's raining, you're tired, or you just don't feel like it. That's what Discipline Island. It's not glamorous. It's not popular, but it's everything. 1. Discipline isn't restriction, it's self-respect. People often flinch at the word discipline. They imagine cold routines, no freedom, and harsh rules. But the truth is, real discipline comes from love. Love for your future. Love for your potential. Love for your dreams so much that you refuse to neglect them. Think of a farmer. Rain or shine, they're out working. No one forces them, no alarm needs to scream, because they know if they skip today, they lose the harvest tomorrow. That's the mindset of someone who truly wants it. They don't wait for motivation. They create discipline as the fence to protect their dream. 2. Discipline is doing it when you don't want to. This is where the real difference lies. Ordinary people act when they feel like it. Disciplined people act regardless of how they feel. There will be mornings you're tired, days when nothing feels exciting. But if you still show up, you win. Stop waiting for motivation. Let action lead emotion, not the other way around. Discipline says, today is still a step forward no matter how I feel. 3. Small, consistent actions build big results. No one builds a dream in a single day. No success is born overnight. It all starts with a small habit done consistently. 15 minutes of workout. 20 pages of reading. One morning without hitting snooze. It may seem small, but do it every day for 30 days, you evolve. Do it for 90 days, you become someone new. Do it for a year, your life transforms. That's the quiet power of discipline. 4. Discipline protects you from short-term temptations. Most people don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they keep choosing what's easy right now. Watching shows is easier than learning. Scrolling is easier than writing. Sugar is easier than sweat. But ask yourself, do you want life to be easy now or later? Discipline means saying no to the comfort now, so you can say yes to the life you deserve. If you don't discipline yourself, life will eventually do it for you. 5. Discipline doesn't mean perfect, it means persistent. People quit because they expect perfection. They miss one day and say, well, I blew it, might as well quit. But discipline isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up. Miss a day, that's okay. Slip up, it happens. Just come back. Keep showing up. Discipline doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. You know what quietly steals your belief in yourself? Not failure, not criticism, but comparison.
It slowly eats away at your confidence, until you no longer trust the path you're on. And the scariest part? You often don't even realize it's happening. 1. Social media is a highlight reel, not the whole story. Back in my day, you had to meet someone to know how they were doing. Today, one swipe, and you're drowning in everyone else's best moments. A beach photo, a luxury car, a fitness transformation. You scroll and think, why not me? But here's the truth. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You didn't see the debt behind that vacation. You didn't see the loneliness behind that smile. You didn't see the 100 failed attempts before that one success story. Social media shows the show, not the sleepless nights behind the curtain. And when you compare your messy process to someone else's polished product, you always lose. 2. Comparison makes you forget who you are. Worse than feeling less than is forgetting who you are in the process. You start shifting your dreams, chasing what they chase, talking like them, dressing like them, living like them, and slowly, you stop being you. You no longer enjoy what once lit you up, because it doesn't look good enough next to someone else's life. That's what comparison does. It steals your joy and replaces it with self-doubt. 3. It took me 10 years to learn. I don't have to be like anyone. Let me tell you something personal. In my 32nd, I watched my friends take off. They had businesses, traveled the world, bought homes. Me? Just an ordinary engineer working day by day. I started questioning myself. Am I behind? Should I be doing more? I tried to catch up, took jobs I didn't enjoy, made choices to look successful. But the more I chased their path, the more I lost my own. And after a full decade, I finally realized I don't have to be like anyone else. I have my own rhythm, my own values, my own definition of success. And when I stopped comparing, I finally started living. 4. Stillness brings you back to yourself. Comparison thrives in noise. The louder the world gets, the easier it is to forget what really matters. But when you pause, when you step back from the scrolling, the opinions, the pressure, you start to hear your own voice again. And you realize success isn't a race. It's a journey that only you can define. Stillness helps you see the difference between what's truly yours and what society has told you to want, what feels right and what merely looks impressive. 5. Living differently doesn't mean you've lost it, means you're brave. You don't have to win someone else's game. You just have to be honest with yourself. If peace makes you happy, you've already won. If simplicity gives you joy, you're already rich. The bravest thing is not to compete. The bravest thing is to say, this is my path and I trust it. You know what quietly steals your belief in yourself? Not failure, not criticism, but comparison. It slowly eats away at your confidence, until you no longer trust the path you're on. And the scariest part? You often don't even realize it's happening. 1. Social media is a highlight reel, not the whole story. Back in my day, you had to meet someone to know how they were doing. Today, one swipe, and you're drowning in everyone else's best moments. A beach photo, a luxury car, a fitness transformation. You scroll and think, why not me? But here's the truth. You're comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You didn't see the debt behind that vacation. You didn't see the loneliness behind that smile. You didn't see the 100 failed attempts before that one success story. Social media shows the show, not the sleepless nights behind the curtain. And when you compare your messy process to someone else's polished product, you always lose. 2. Comparison makes you forget who you are. Worse than feeling less than is forgetting who you are in the process. You start shifting your dreams, chasing what they chase, talking like them, dressing like them, living like them. And slowly, you stop being you. You no longer enjoy what once lit you up, because it doesn't look good enough next to someone else's life. That's what comparison does. It steals your joy and replaces it with self-doubt. 3. It took me 10 years to learn I don't have to be like anyone. Let me tell you something personal. In my 32nd, I watched my friends take off. They had businesses, traveled the world, bought homes. Me? Just an ordinary engineer, working day by day. I started questioning myself. Am I behind? Should I be doing more? I tried to catch up. Took jobs I didn't enjoy, made choices to look successful. But the more I chased their path, the more I lost my own. And after a full decade, I finally realized I don't have to be like anyone else. I have my own rhythm, my own values, my own definition of success. And when I stopped comparing, I finally started living. 4. Stillness brings you back to yourself. Comparison thrives in noise. The louder the world gets, the easier it is to forget what really matters. But when you pause, when you step back from the scrolling, the opinions, the pressure, you start to hear your own voice again. And you realize success isn't a race. It's a journey that only you can define. Stillness helps you see the difference between what's truly yours and what society has told you to want. What feels right and what merely looks impressive. 5. Living differently doesn't mean you've lost, it means you're brave. You don't have to win someone else's game. You just have to be honest with yourself. If peace makes you happy, you've already won. If simplicity gives you joy, you're already rich. The bravest thing is not to compete. The bravest thing is to say, this is my path and I trust it. When you stop comparing yourself to others, something powerful happens. You finally have space to ask yourself, not, am I good enough? But, am I true to myself? And in that stillness, a bigger question emerges. What does success really mean? Is it the applause, the followers, the cars and homes? Or is it something quieter? Like waking up every morning knowing you're no longer pretending, knowing you're living a life that reflects who you really are? Success is no longer about being seen. It's about being at peace. It's the silent joy of knowing you didn't give up, even when others doubted you. And now, you don't need to prove them wrong. You just need to prove yourself right. That's when something shifts. You start living not for revenge, not for approval, but for you. I used to believe success meant making others respect me. I thought if I became good enough, rich enough, or well-known enough, those who once looked down on me would have to bow their heads. So I ran, I hustled. Until one day I realized I wasn't living to grow, I was living to get even. When you're young, society teaches you that you must be successful to be worthy, that you need fame, wealth, and recognition to earn respect. But after more than 60 years of life, let me tell you something. Success isn't about how others see you. It's about whether you can genuinely smile at yourself. Every time I close my eyes and ask myself, if tomorrow were my last day, would I have regrets? The answers never come from applause or moments when I felt above someone else. They come from the quiet moments. The afternoons I sat alone, writing down my dreams. The times I stood back up when no one else believed I would. You don't need to win in their eyes. Real success isn't about being better than someone. It's about no longer needing to be better than anyone. There's a strange kind of happiness that only shows up when you stop needing to prove anything. When you no longer live to say, see, I told you so, but instead, you simply want to live a meaningful life for you. That's when the race stops. And the journey truly begins steady, grounded, intentional. Success isn't loud. We often imagine success as something glamorous. Award shows, bright lights, loud applause. But in reality, success is usually quiet. It shows up when you wake up early and stick to your routine even when no one notices. It's there when you turn down a short-term win to stay aligned with your long-term values. It lives in the moments you say no to something popular because it simply doesn't match who you are. This kind of success isn't flashy, but it's steady, deep, and lasting. Don't live to prove them wrong. I've met many people who are successful but not happy. They have it all, the house, the car, the admiration. Yet behind their eyes, there's a certain emptiness. Because they're not living for themselves. They're living to prove a point, to get back at the world, to silence the voices that once told them, you'll never make it. And yes, that kind of drive can take you far, but it's not sustainable. It burns you out. It keeps you tense, defensive, always needing to win, to be seen, to stay ahead. Eventually, you'll get tired. You'll realize you've built a castle, but inside it's hollow. Live to know you were right, not to prove them wrong. If you're quietly working toward a dream, I want you to hear this clearly. Live in a way that reminds yourself that you were right. Right to keep going. Right to ignore the critics. Right to choose integrity over shortcuts. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with your choices. Not the crowd. Not the doubters. Just you and the reflection in your mirror. Let that reflection be someone you can look at and smile. A new definition. Success is peace. If I could go back to my 22nd or 32nd, I wouldn't ask, how can I stand out? I'd ask, how can I live more true to myself every single day? Because now I know. Success isn't something out there. It lives in here in a peaceful heart, in a soul that no longer competes. I don't need the world to validate me. I just need to know every step I take is the step of a person who is authentic, resilient, and refuses to quit. There's one thing I've come to understand after all these years. The moment you stop trying to prove something to others is the moment you start living for yourself. You don't have to become someone just to be accepted. You don't need to shout your progress to the world. You don't need to rush to catch up with anyone. Because your true worth isn't in how others see you. It's in how consistently you keep walking your path, quietly, every single day. If you're doubting yourself right now, feeling tired or uncertain, don't quit, don't explain, just keep going in silence. You don't have to say a word, because one day, the life you've been quietly building will speak louder than anything you could have said, and you'll smile because you didn't give up.